Hello, I'm Christian Fraser. Welcome to Context, our new show on the BBC News Channel and BBC World News. On the show, pressure mounts on Boris Johnson. The Met Police say they're in contact with the government over a leaked email inviting Number 10 staffers to a party during lockdown. There's been no confirmation from the Prime Minister, but it is thought he and his wife Carrie were at the party in May 2020, which up to 40 people reportedly attended. Joe Biden tells America there's nothing more fundamental than the right to vote. The president says it's a defining moment for US democracy. In England, the teachers plough on despite massive COVID disruption to classrooms, but in Chicago, the teachers walked off the job. Tonight, with the context, Ruth Smeeth, a former Labour MP in Stoke-on-Trent until the last election, and alongside a familiar face for many of you, Ron Christie, former advisor to George W. Bush. A very warm welcome to Context. At this hour, each day we'll bring you the best analysis on all the top stories with our panel of experts. They'll stay with us for the next hour to give us their insights on what's happening around the world. All those people you've spoken to, Susanna, I'm going to call you AAA, access all areas, all sides of the party, every party. Coming up next, President Biden is in Georgia, where he's returned to the theme of American democracy today. We're going to speak to Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, who oversees the elections in Georgia and who refused to overturn the result in 2020. That's coming up.
If you've got questions about the stories making headlines, Reality Check is here to help you get the facts straight. Our team of experts examine the evidence and cut through the spin. Join me, Chris Morris, here on BBC World News, or go to bbc.com/Reality Check.
Hello, I'm Christian Fraser. You're watching Context on BBC News. President Biden is in Georgia to reignite the battle on voting rights reform. He's warning there is a lot at stake.
It's about the people. It's about America. Hear me plainly. The battle for the soul of America is not over.
A new left-wing movement could be coming to the UK after reports that Jeremy Corbyn, former leader of the Labour Party, is thinking of establishing his own party. Plus, could this viral image spell the end for the Open Plan Office? We can only pray. Tonight, with the context, Ruth Smeeth, a former Labour MP in Stoke-on-Trent until the last election, and Ron Christie, former advisor to President George W. Bush. Welcome back. You may have noticed President Biden has started the year with a renewed focus on voting rights. Today, he is in Georgia, where he's been speaking in the last half an hour, imploring the US Senate to pass new voting rights legislation. Tell you what,
come over here.
In the Washington Bureau, they did give Caddy Kay an office. I'm just going to leave that there. I'm just going to leave it there. Ron Christie, Ruth Smeeth, lovely to see you this evening. We are going to be back at the same time tomorrow. I guess tomorrow night on the panel, Sarah Vine and Pippa Carrera. Maybe we will talk about Partygate some more. Who knows? Do join us for that. Hello, I'm Christian Fraser. You're watching Context on BBC News. The British Prime Minister admits attending a Downing Street party at the height of lockdown and apologises. Boris Johnson tells the House he was at drinks with Downing Street staff for 25 minutes, but still insists that technically it didn't break the rules.
I regret the way the event I have described was handled. I bitterly regret it and wish that we could have done things differently. And I have and will continue to apologise for what we did.
The party's over, Prime Minister. The only question is, will the British public kick him out? Will his party kick him out? Or will he do the decent thing and resign?
Prince Andrew faces a civil trial in the United States over accusations of sexual assault after a judge refuses to dismiss it. Tonight, with the context, Daily Mail columnist Sarah Vine and the political editor of the Daily Mirror, Pippa Crerar. Hello, a warm welcome. For the first time, Boris Johnson has admitted he did attend a Downing Street party during last year's lockdown. And for the first time, the leader of the opposition has called on him to resign. More pictures perhaps in the wings, we will see. Do stay with us. We've got plenty more coming up. We'll talk about Prince Andrew and, of course, Russia and NATO talking in Brussels. Hello, I'm Christian Fraser. You're watching Context on BBC News. Prince Andrew faces a civil trial in the United States over accusations of sexual assault after a judge refuses to dismiss it. Virginia Giuffre is suing the Duke of York, claiming he abused her when she was 17, allegations he strenuously denies. NATO warns there's still a real risk of armed conflict in Europe after talks with Russia end with significant differences unresolved.
It shouldn't be allowed to happen, and they don't want it to happen again. And the only way it's not going to happen again is you have to solve...
And why, after years of trying to get an interview with Donald Trump, it ended up coming to a very abrupt end. Tonight, with the context, Daily Mail columnist Sarah Vine and the political editor of the Daily Mirror, Pippa Crerar. So, Prince Andrew will face a civil case in the United States over allegations he sexually assaulted a woman when she was 17. Virginia Giuffre is suing the Prince, claiming he abused her in 2001, an allegation he has strenuously denied. Listen, it's been so good. Pippa, Sarah, I hope you're going to come back. It's been so interesting getting your thoughts this evening, particularly on such a big news day here in the UK. Thank you both very much for being with us. Tomorrow, it is the turn of President Trump's former campaign advisor, Brian Lanza, will be with us, and the chair of Young Labour, Jess Barnard. We're looking forward to having them both with us. Quite the pairing. We will see you tomorrow, same time. Bye-bye.
What we hope and pray.
Hello, I'm Christian Fraser. You're watching Context on BBC News. Prince Andrew is losing his royal and military titles. He will no longer be known as His Royal Highness. Buckingham Palace says the Duke of York, who was seen leaving Windsor this morning, is handing back his titles to the Queen and will no longer undertake public duties. It comes a day after a judge in New York ruled the Prince will need to defend in civil court an accusation of sexual assault brought by Virginia Giuffre. It's an accusation he strenuously denies. No let up for Boris Johnson, with more Tory MPs calling on him to resign for attending a Downing Street drinks party during lockdown. Tonight, with the context, Chair of Young Labour, Jess Barnard, and a former member of Donald Trump's presidential transition team, Brian Lanza. Hello, a warm welcome. Buckingham Palace has announced that with the Queen's approval and agreement, all of Prince Andrew's military titles and royal patronages have been returned. OK, we'll leave it there. We'll head to the break. Do stay with us. We're going to talk about a Chinese agent in the British Parliament, and we're going to hear my interview with the Russian ambassador. Stay with us. Hello, I'm Christian Fraser. You're watching Context on BBC News. MI5 issues a rare alert about a Chinese agent operating for years at the heart of British politics. Christine Lee said MI5 has been trying to influence British politicians and has engaged in interference on behalf of the Chinese Communist Party. Russia says there won't be peace in Ukraine until the United States and other Western states stop encroaching on its sphere of influence in Eastern Europe.
NATO enlargement continues to put in danger European security. On the one hand, it is very dangerous for Russia.
And the US Supreme Court refuses to hear the appeal of an Alabama woman who left 7 years ago to join IS and now wants to return. Tonight, with the Context, Chair of Young Labour, Jess Barnard, and a former member of Donald Trump's presidential transition team, Brian Lanza. Welcome back. MI5 has issued a rare warning to British MPs, alerting them to a woman who's been working in and around Parliament as an agent for the Chinese state, trying to influence politicians. Do you know what makes it so good, Jess? It's got no rubbish in it. It's got just flour, yeast, salt and water. And I will leave you with this thought, right? Do you know where it came from? You can't march an army on an empty stomach. It came from Napoleon. And they put it in that long shape, so I believe, so they could stick it in their backpack. You see, Brian, you come on this programme, you learn something.
Amazing. Thank you.
Jess Barnard, lovely to talk to you. Brian, thank you for joining us again.
My pleasure.
We hope you've enjoyed the programme. Do join us again next week. That's the end of our first week of programming. It's very different. We get plenty of conversation in. We get the context in as well. I hope you'll join us again for some more programmes. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
As the coronavirus pandemic continues, BBC News has in-depth coverage.